Liverpool, top of the league. Just wanted to throw that out there. Let's still sit in that and have a little smile, because it may not be true again for the rest of the season, but right now it is definitely a thing. Liverpool are top of the pile. Before we delve into, the top, I think, Chloe, you were talking about it, so we'll start there, really.
Sorry, I ruined the entire show.
No, but whatever, we're here now. How are you feeling about it? Because that's always our jumping off point here at Redmen. We'll come into stats and we'll come into that, but I like feelings and I like the emotions of all this. How are you feeling looking at that league table right now?
I'm feeling absolutely made up. And actually, I downplayed this season mainly because it's Slot's first season, and he's got to get his game plan and system across. And you never want to put too much pressure on that. You just don't. And I like to not do that. So I've always said I reckon we're still the third best. But right now, Liverpool are just beating what's in front of them, and that's all they can do. They're playing some great football. And I keep harping on as if you're going to try and win a league, you have to beat everyone. It's consistency that's key here. There's no point in going and beating Arsenal or Manchester City and then dropping points at home to West Ham and Fulham back to back. There's just no point, because the consistency that those two teams put up are ridiculous. And there's been times in the past where Liverpool have actually been good against the big sides, but actually have struggled against the smaller teams. Yeah. So for me, you've got to win every game that's possible, because how many times in seasons where we were going for the title did you have to go to Old Trafford and go, Jesus Christ, we're going to have to pick up 3 points here? You should never have to go to Old Trafford and go, we have to win this game of football. Yep. But Liverpool went there and they've already done that. So I don't even have to worry about that. So I'm feeling great. I totally understand there's bigger opposition to come my way. However, Liverpool are winning games of football, and that is all I can ask for.
I think, Dan, that is absolutely spot on, because this is the thing. People go, oh, you've only played X, Y, and Z, and I sort of the two of the teams that are currently in the bottom three. Most of the teams are in the bottom half of the league. But this is the thing: you've still got to beat these teams. So if you want to be top of the league, the only way to win this league is to beat everyone who finishes in the bottom 12. Home and away, or pretty much. You've got to get that done. So we've got staying a test to come. We absolutely have. But it's worth remembering this, that, you've got to do this one way or the other. And I get it. It's just it's an optical thing. I think people want to have a clearer idea of exactly where Liverpool are at. And I think we will. I think that's to come. But as far as if you were constructing a league title win, so many of them seasons where we go, we beat United and we beat Chelsea and we beat City. Yeah, but we got fucked by all these teams, and we ended up really feeling really disappointed in ourselves. You've got to do both ultimately if you want to win the league.
Yeah, absolutely, because such is the ridiculous points tally required to win most Premier Leagues these days, that you need to build up a catalogue of wins against the lower teams, really. So I think you have to be spot on, and it's all well and good going and putting in sort of blow for blow performances with your Man Cities this world, as you've done often, it feels like, down the past few years. But again, if you then slip up against another team at home or away with more the sticking point forwards, it feels like, then it's worth nothing ultimately. So I'm over the moon with the way Liverpool have started this season. You can only beat what's in front of you, as Chloe references as well. So there's no other way of looking at it in the sort of hope springs eternal. How we go about playing the other teams, I'm really interested by, because Manchester United, that is a tricky fixture because of who they are to us, not necessarily who they are as a football team. How we come up against, and whether we sort of change our game, whether we stick to what we're doing against Man City's, Arsenal's this world, Real Madrid when they come to town as well, that's going to be really, really fascinating. But for the most part now, I think we've been able to carry on rather seamlessly with a few changes here and there, because obviously Arne Slot hasn't reinvented this wheel necessarily, just tweaked the odd thing here and there, and that's allowed us to carry on a lot of the good work left behind by Jurgen. But in terms of, assessments at the half-term mark, if you like, under Arne Slot, he's passing almost everything with flying colours.
Can I also say that just because we're Liverpool Football Club and we're playing against a smaller team does not mean that you deserve to win absolutely anything.
There's no gimmies in the Premier League,
exactly.
That's the point.
It's not just because your name might be bigger, does not mean that you're not going to come up against an incredible atmosphere. In fact, if anything, Liverpool are one of the most hated football clubs in English football, if not the most hated. They are up there. And we now have a target on our back. So everyone is going to want to try and beat us. And where you come up against City, and for the past however many years, it's felt like teams come up against City and go, might as well not even try, lads. points because we just don't have a way to play against them. It's always felt like with Liverpool, they can go play for us with the way we used to play.
That's true.
So now it's a case of we will have a target on our back, but you've got to beat those teams. And just because you're a bigger football club does not give you the permission to go into those teams and just undermine what's in front of you. You've got to go and beat what's out on the pitch.
We're a scalp as well. Sorry, we're a scalp.
Well, that was going to be my point, yeah.
Because fan bases will remember beating Liverpool for years and years and years and years to come. Whereas somebody, and Manchester City fall into this, I don't apologise for what I'm about to say, but the fans don't really care that much. On the day, great, they've beaten champions-elect, whatever. But in terms of how it's remembered, it's quickly forgotten about because they often don't have that historic rivalry. Whereas almost every single football club in this land, certainly the ones who've been in and around the Premier League for any length of time, hate Liverpool Football Club and the fan base that goes with it. So every time we go, certainly away from home, which might speak to the problem we've had away from home on the road somewhat, they see it as the biggest day of their season. Often, they might have the derbies, but Liverpool coming to town is an event, and to actually get one over us means a hell of a lot.
Teams play differently against Liverpool. They do. They absolutely do. You know, teams will sacrifice their ethos of playing football because there's no point in them playing a particular way against a team like Liverpool. So you have this forever. It's why whenever brilliant teams, or supposedly the top teams, go in the Europa League, they'll piss the Europa League. They always struggle in the Europa League because ultimately you come up against these other lads who are amongst the best in their own leagues, and it's the biggest game they've ever played in their entire lives. So you've got this thing to tell your kids and tell your grandkids. No one tells their grandkids about the time they played Ipswich. You know, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and it happens less with Evertons and West Hams and all this kind of stuff. As you're right, Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, they're the teams where you go, yeah, I'm going to go and make a name for myself, which is one of those, which is definitely a consideration.
We all laud how good the Premier League is and how great they are, and there's 19 teams we can play. We play 7 of them. We played over a third of the opposition, and we beat the majority of them. The blip against Forest side. So if everyone keeps telling me how good the Premier League is and how easy it is to win Premier League games, there's a disconnect there. I go back to the conversation before. We found being away from home last year so difficult. I always like trying to marry up fixtures to games. Like, if you count Ipswich as like the Luton, what we drew there, you count Man United as Man United, where we got beaten, and we drew, we won this one. Like, Liverpool are improving. I went into this season, I think I did a show on another platform, like, what do you expect of Liverpool? I was like, I don't know what you want. Well, I want to see that there's a plan and that I can see something to work into. It'd be wrong to go, the Slot's got to win the Premier League or win the European Cup in his first season. That's completely unnecessary and unfair on him. But can we see that he's the man to take over from Jurgen?
I want to know it's possible.
Yeah, that this man is good enough to win us the league in the future. And what are we, 10 games in all comps? I think this manager is good enough to win trophies as our manager. I'm convinced already. Whether he will, I don't know. But I'm not like at a point where, 10 games into other managers we've had, Hodgson, you're like, oh, fucking hell, this definitely isn't going to work. Rodgers, again, different teams, granted, they took over poorer teams, but like, you wasn't sure with Brendan. I think I've learned already, I think 10 games and he's the guy, like he's the right man for us, and what that brings in the future, we don't know, but I think it's an easy way to disparage us, just to go, well, you haven't played anyone. But after the reason they're down the bottom of the league is because we beat them.
Yeah.
They beat us. They'd be 3 points better in the friggin' set. You know what I mean? If Man United would have beat, they'd have been 9 in the league.
Not much, like, but
no, it's not their fault.
Man United might have been as high as 8th if they had 3 more points.
Is that just on the pitch, Steve, you're saying those things there, or is it a little bit off from what you've seen about him as well?
Everything about him, mate. I think he's fantastic. I really do. I'm a big fan. I think I like his ways. I like the way he goes about it. He's not overawed by Liverpool. I used to think, again, previous managers in the past, I do reference Brendan in this a little bit, like pandered a little bit. Like
he was desperate to be loved.
Yeah, and he was saying what he thought we wanted to be and what the media wanted to hear, and everyone went on to him. Like,
but it's Brendan and his famous dossier that of like how to play football that he's been building over these years, and he wants everyone to see that because he wants everyone to know how clever he is. I don't think Slot cares.
Because he keeps praising the last fella, and he keeps praising the manager, and he keeps praising all the players. Yeah, I got left with a great team, and he won. See last year when he won a cup and we're in the hunt to win the other 3. He's quite happy to just plod on.
Are you overawed? Is there danger of being overawed, being top of the league? No, we're Liverpool. Fucking love it, mate.
Honestly, it's so good.
Love it.
So self-assured.
We should make that as a t-shirt. Yeah. He's just like, with the way he carries himself is fantastic. I love the way his football team play. I love the fact that we don't let goals in, touch wood, anymore. Like, everything about it. How can anyone sit here and be anything other than impressed? It makes no sense.
Every goal, we've pretty much, I think I said this on a show a couple of weeks ago, there's probably there's an exception to this, which I can't think of off the top of my head, but most of the goals we've conceded are fixable because they're not systemic. They're like individual mistakes. Or I can look to them and go, if you're just a bit sharper there, mate, that's not.
Hudson-Odoi, just bring Gakpo, bring the lad down.
Can also get rid as well.
Yeah.
Just on this as a general topic, the Athletic have just tweeted out, I think it was during our little break a minute ago, Liverpool have fell down on the right side of XG in every single game so far this season, and we're the only team to do that in the Premier League, which again speaks to what we're saying here about us being more watertight, hard to play against, better controls. Good.
I also love how he just won't give excuses for absolutely anything. Like there is, and it's one of them where someone will do boss. Ryan Gravenberch has been sensational, and every time he's asked about Ryan Gravenberch, yeah, that's great, but actually it's the team, it's not him. He's being allowed to play like that because of the team and the foundation around him. He never gives too much praise. He's always asking for more. Sobbo, so vital. He praises him for what he's really, really good at in this system, but actually, you know what? He needs to score more goals, and he's not afraid to say it. And when he gets asked things in explaining the way he beats teams and breaks teams down, you just know he's so intelligent and he lives for the knowledge of it, because you sit there and you are stunned at how he can, in a 2-minute answer, break down the way he's just demolished the football side.
He walked into Old Trafford, slapped Eric Ten Hag about it, and then told everyone exactly how he did it. My favourite one was Ibu Canada after Wolves, when Ibu said he should have been man of the match. He went,
"Did you see the goal?"
I was like, "What? Did you see that bit when he never kicked the ball away?"
Yeah.
He is so.
He's a perfectionist, isn't he?
And he's fundamentally Dutch. And
quite literally.
Even I know that's like it's
straight talking.
He just says it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck if we like him. He doesn't give a care if we hate him. He's not bothered. He's just there to win footy matches and go home. But that's all he's here for.
Well, he knows that if he wins football matches, then the rest will follow.
Exactly.
And whereas it's different. And this is the thing. Jurgen left the foundations in place. Jurgen had to teach the fans that it was fine to get excited about your football team, and it was fine to to stay late and play every ball and get it.
Believe.
Yeah, exactly. He had to train the football club. Again, we had to convince ownership groups to part with money in certain situations. He was part and parcel of Liverpool building up the training facilities and all these kinds of stuff. He's done so much of the legwork. And look, in reality, if Klopp sees his contract out, we're probably still sat top of the table. That's just the way it goes. But Slot's come in and he's not gone. I mean, look, David Moyes come in at Manchester United and they went, here's all the coaching staff, keep the coaching staff. And he went, nope, I want all my Everton coaching staff. And they went, oh, well, you're the boss, I guess, so we'll do that. And then all of a sudden he's going to these lads who've won Premier League titles and European Cups. Well, when I did this at Everton, and they're going, who gives a fuck? What have you won? Where's your medals, mate? Yeah. I know you've got a painting in a pub somewhere in Old Swan that says you don't need trophies to prove you're a winner, but that doesn't really wash at Old Trafford. So yeah, again, the way he's conducting himself is fine. But I want to talk about the challenge, and just to kind of talk about this notion that's building up. We've played no one, and I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say that Ipswich or where they are. They're a newly promoted side. It would be some sort of footballing miracle if they stay up this season.
We all think are decent. Aston Villa didn't beat them at their after did.
And I think
away from home tricky Ipswich, I would say, for everyone.
And my contention on this, there was never a harder time to play Ipswich.
First game
of the season. Half 12, first game of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When they've got everything going for them. They've got all
manager,
no injuries yet.
And it showed for a bit in that game, didn't it? I think it's fair to say. That wasn't straightforward, you know what I mean? They were at it. When they ran out of legs, actually we made ourselves sort of get control and have authority in it. So
how are Brentford doing?
Well, Brentford we stopped Brentford from scoring in the first 2 minutes of a football match. So there you go, that's an achievement.
And everyone scores at the first team against us when they try to as well. Last year I felt like everyone was doing that to us. You go through the list of teams we played, actually the shittest ones are Man United, genuinely. They're woeful, they're dreadful. Everyone else is giving you a bit of a challenge.
But I think, the Man United thing, ha.
They're crap, but it's Old Trafford and we've always struggled with that.
Well, this is the thing. So for me, whether Man United are good or not, and they're not, let's make it perfectly clear, they're fucking awful. They're fucking awful, and it's amazing. Let that sink in for a moment. I can't remember what the point was. Let's just do that. Old Trafford, we don't win at Old Trafford very often. I know we go, well, we beat them 5-0. Yeah, but they're outliers. Really, you remember every time we win at Old Trafford. They stand out. There's like a generational thing. It's a huge moment. So when we do that, it shouldn't be undervalued.
Maybe we do rondos on the halfway line,
mate. It's right. But, so you've gone to Old Trafford and you've won, and this is all comps, of course. But like Milan are no great. They're not a great side. This is not 2007. It's not 2005. But it's the San Siro. You've gone to the San Siro and got a good solid win and come from a goal down as well. To do that is a challenge in and of it. West Ham, I know that everyone made changes for that game. That was the hardest draw that any of the top teams had because of that protection, the seeding for that draw. Everyone else ended up with no one, and we got
Bolton.
Arsenal,
Chelsea got Barrow.
And we ended up with West Ham at home, and we absolutely and we had it was a tough game. The score actually kind of flattered us a bit.
Changed it, didn't it?
Yeah. But all the same, we came through that challenge and rotated massively in that game, and were able to do it. And then again, I'm not going to make the case for Wolves because I think they're a mess, but I don't think how they performed at the weekend really adds to my case for it. But they've been all right. They're a team that can cause you problems, and they caused us more problems last season as well. And so and Palace, the goalie gets injured, and we bring our third choice goalie in who's never played a game for us and had to see out that match. They're all challenges. They're not Man City away, and that will happen, and we'll get a greater picture.
That only happens once a season.
Yeah, mate, it's the Premier League. You get 3 points to win the game. That's what you're for. This idea that you should downplay who you've beaten, you just beat the teams and just keep beating them.
Yeah.
And I'm more bothered. I think actually, and I might be proven wrong on this, I think how we play lends itself really well to big games. We look like a big game team in that. We're going to try and do it differently. We're not going to go toe to toe, swing, bang, bang, bang. We're going to try and play. We're going to try and be us. We're going to be solid at the back. It's a bit how Arteta did it, except we've got better forwards. In that we're going to try and be really solid at the back, and then we're not going to take too many risks, and then we'll bank on our forward players to do it. And I think it makes sense, and also I think it will lend itself to big games. If teams want to come at us, we look deadly when there's space in behind. Yeah. A few teams have tried to do that. Now, the only teams who have had relative success against us, and Forest is the obvious one who have parked the bus. Anytime someone's tried to go toe-to-toe with us, we've took the ball off them and we're in, and we're really good. We're really strong at the back. So I just don't know what anyone wants. This has been, it's been unimaginable. If you'd have said to me, I'm just looking at the league table now, at the minute, say for example, Chelsea are 4th on 14 points, I think that would have been all right for the manager's first start.
I agree. You expect us to be in around there.
Yeah, of course you would, because the way last season ended, we didn't sign anybody. New manager, yada yada yada. To be top of the league, it doesn't matter who you've played. I think he should be given a lot of credit.
Just quickly, sorry. Yes, on all you just said. However, I have a slight concern, and it's only a slight concern, that although we are trying to be controlled and trying to be measured and trying to dominate possession and not give teams a sniff, I think we're giving teams too much of a sniff still.
Yeah.
I think how busy Alisson was, and what I'm saying that for is because if we are as sloppy and there's too many turnovers in midfield like we have been culpable of recently, big teams will hurt us for that. And we're not the finished article, clearly. It's the October international break. It's the 15th one of the season already, which is mental. We've only played 10 games of footy, so clearly Arne Slot will be so aware of what I'm saying here. Mm-hmm. However, when the big games start coming, if we're not quite as on it like we need to be, that will be a problem, I think.
What I will say is I don't think we've seen the best of Liverpool, and that is the scariest thing, is that players have had games off. You're talking about Mo Salah now. There was people talking about Trent at times. Diaz has started the season brilliantly. You've not really seen much of Chiesa, and we're all excited for him. And Liverpool, in each game, maybe aside from that Forest game, they've either gotten better or they've had a large spell where they've been good. But I don't think we've done it for 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. You've done it for 45, and actually those 60 minutes against Crystal Palace is probably the longest we've seen it so far.
I also think, if you look at the Premier League table, City are having great shakes at the minute. Nobody has got into this season for Arsenal, and listen, Arsenal are only 1 point behind us, but They needed a last minute goal to beat Leicester. Southampton give them a lot. No one going to speak on the Bayer show. Like, I don't think anyone's fired on all cylinders yet. You know what I mean? Like, this is almost about setting yourself up. 100%. I'm just looking for the league table now. Who do you think's like made up without the playing? So
probably Chelsea.
Probably maybe Chelsea. And Chelsea have had some stinkers. Don't you know? Like, I don't know if anyone's like made up.
Liverpool's scratching the surface at the minute, which is Chloe's point there, and that's the best thing about all of this. Yeah. And again, my only reservation, my only concern is the fact that we can't allow better opposition to get as many chances as Palace is.
Forest is the big one. That's
the big one.
And I think good teams will have chances. Every team's going to have spells in football matches, and you're right. It's what we'll find out now with Alisson out if he's out for a long old spell, and Kelleher comes back in. You know, we've only conceded 2 goals in the league so far. That's by miles the best defensive record. City have conceded 8. You know, it was 6. This is 6 goal swing and got in defensive goal difference between us and Manchester City in second. Arsenal conceded 6. Has that been Alisson who's kept that? And I don't feel it as much as last season. I felt like Alisson was our best player in the first half of that season. Like we were where we were because he was like making 3 or 4 massive saves every single game. But the challenge is the Forest one, and that's when teams go, we're getting nothing from this game, so we're just going to park it and we're just going to it long into the channels. How do we face down that challenge? But even again, we talk about who we faced. Forest have done that time and time again already. They're actually
against Chelsea literally on the weekend.
Literally doing exactly the same thing. Technically, although it was the League Cup and they lost on penalties, they drew with Newcastle, 1-1 in normal time in that one. They drew with Brighton, even though they ended up the game with 10 men in that. They're a resilient football team. It is stupid that we lost at Anfield to them, but that's the one that's outlier that we've got to watch out for, because that will come back to us at some point. We'll have another one of them, and have we learned from it? Because if we learn from that, then again, you can lose to Man City under any given circumstances. Don't, like Chloe says, we don't need to be building a title campaign around having to beat Man City twice in a season.